Hello everyone, I got in a new scope from Nightforce. Okay, so this is not one that I purchased. This was purchased by somebody and sent directly to me so that I can do a review on it and put on their rifle. Okay, now this didn't come from the from the company. This is from a consumer. That's what the reticle looks like. Make sure if I got that here. There's the details on that. Okay, so this is pretty pricey. I think it's somewhere in the area of $2,000+. This is going to end up on the SCAR. Okay, but before I mount it on the SCAR, it's SCAR 17S that shoots 308, which tends to be more expensive ammunition. So before I do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to mount it on this AR-47. Okay, so this shoots 7.62 by 3.9. I've had this one came from Davidson Defense. I've had this for I think almost 2 months now. I've been testing it out. So what's going to happen is the red dot magnifier is going to come off. The flip up sights are going to stay on. Okay, so I know a lot of you guys might give me some grief down the road about why I got flip up sights in front of the scope. It's so that when the scope eventually comes off and I go to put the next red dot on here for testing, I've already got iron sights on here that I'm going to be able to quickly co-witness to, right? And then I just got to take a couple of shots out my 50-yard zero. So that's why the flip-up sights stay on the rifle, okay? And I don't care how it looks. It's just practical for what I do, okay? So these are going to come off. The Nightforce is going to go on. Now, he bought a Nightforce 20 MOA scope mount. So just looking at this in the box, the first thing I don't like about this is the two Frankenstein bolts, okay? So this is going to go on a SCAR 17, which has a charging handle that sits pretty high. And if the charging handle is on the same side as the bolts, basically your knuckles are basically beating up against these Frankenstein bolts over here. So I hate this design. I don't know why companies still use the Frankenstein bolts. Now, the good thing here is that the bolts are on the left side, where the charging handle is going to go to the right side, and this is a right-handed shooter, so that should work out pretty good. But the bad side of that is that he's kind of now limited to only running that charging handle on the right side, because if he goes to the left side, he's going to be beating up his knuckles on the two Frankenstein bolts. Okay, so these are 20 MOA. I do wish that they would standardize something like 25 or 30 MOA, because 20 MOA really doesn't give you a whole lot of lift. I mean, basically the whole bottom portion of your elevation is just not being used. Okay, so I think 25 or 30 MOA scope mounts should really become the standard for scopes. Okay, so let's put that on the side. So that's the mount we're going to put on there. Let's open this up. So this is the NX8 2.5 to 20 by 50. Okay, so I didn't even remember exactly what I was getting here. Okay, so this is the NX8. Okay, so let's open up this box and see what we got. Haven't even looked inside it yet, so I've got no idea what's in there, how to send it. Come on, open up. Wow, they show me. Oh shit. Okay. So you gotta go light on the cut and then pull up. Okay. So put the knife away. All right, so let's see what they give us. They give us a selfie thing. So okay, yeah, it's pretty simple. All right, so they send us the scope. There's the scope. All right, so this is an MOA. Okay, and I can see that this has the Allen screws, so that you can set your zero. Closer, so see how it's got the Allen screws there, so that you can set your zero. Okay, really tall, big turrets here, so that feels pretty good. As far as the turrets, I was expecting it to be a little bit more tactile. This seems a little bit on the mushy side. So initial impression is I don't hear like, it's not like a click, click, click. It's like a mush, mush, mush. So the Nightforce is a little bit on the mushy side compared to other scopes that I have handled. So this side is capped. So the elevation is exposed, the windage. Yeah, same thing. It's kind of a little bit mushy. I mean, I can hear it. I mean, it's tactile. I can hear it, but it's not like the loudest clicking I've ever heard on a scope. I mean, I've heard red dots that are louder. I've seen red dots that are louder and are more tactile. In fact, I was doing a review on one of those budget $80 Amazon red dots from Hitachi, and that was more tactile and more audible than this. So that's a little under-impressing. Okay, and let's see on this side. Oh, that's the parallax adjustment. Yeah, that's nice. Okay, parallax is nice. So that's infinity. You know what? This is kind of... They really, on this parallax adjustment, like normally, they give you like the yardages or the meters. They just got lines here. Like I got the infinity number there, but it doesn't tell you like at what distance you're at. So that's a little under impressive. Now I suppose that the thinking behind that might be that, because here's the thing, you got the diopter in the back. Yeah, let's not take it off right now. Okay, there it goes. Okay, so you got the diopter in the back. I have to play around with this. So you got there's somewhere under this thing is a diopter. So that's going to change the focus to your eye a little bit. So that might be a reason why they didn't bother to put the yardage numbers here, or the distance numbers on the parallax adjustment, because it's going to be, that's going to be a little bit different depending on how your eye focuses here. So that might be the reason. I don't know. I like having the numbers there because at least that's a starting point. Like I can go like, okay, 300 and then like fine tune it, or I can go 500 and fine tune it. So this is one of those things where you're just going to have to play with it and see where you land. So yeah, that's a little strange. So there's a button there. I wonder if this has illumination. I mean, I literally don't know anything about this. I mean, this just came to me. Let's see if I push that button, do I get any illumination? I don't see anything. I'm gonna have to read the instructions. I don't see anything happening as a result of that button there. So yeah, obviously, you guys just saw me take it out of the box, so I have not read the instructions or anything. So magnification, that's pretty good. That's turning pretty good. I don't see a throw lever on here. I wonder if there's a throw lever in the box. There should be. Well, I mean, they do give us the instructions here. Oh, what? Okay, so this is the key for changing the the zero stop on the turrets. Okay, so that's a pretty cool looking key that they give us. I like that. That's interesting. What's in this bag? They give us a little bag here. I hope there's a throw lever in there, because that's what I would really like. And no, this is a cleaning cloth. This is a cleaning cloth that they put in this little bag here, which is like, all right, I guess so, we're fine. I do not see a throw lever in here. Let me look through the instructions real quick. Yeah, there's gotta be I see a throw lever on the image here of the instructions. So somewhere in this box, there's gotta be a throw lever. Obstruct your view, I think, a little bit when you're shooting. I tend to just take them off. Oh, okay. So let's see. This one unscrews. All right, so this is interesting. Okay, let's close you. All right, so the cap unscrews. That's how we get the caps off. No, it looks like the back is. No, you gotta undo the back with an Allen key. All right, so the back is held in place by an Allen key, so I'm gonna have to put a star. It looks like it's a star key. So I'm gonna use a star key to get this off, just because I need to access the diopter, right? The diopter's gotta be back there somewhere, which I can't even access right now. Or I seem unable to access. This is not in mils, this is in MOA, okay, minute of angle. Let me do this. Let me just give you guys a quick rundown on MOA versus mils, what the difference is. And basically, it's just like a difference of like inches versus centimeter. You can get used to either one. If you're working with a spotter, the main thing is that you got to make sure that you and your spotter are both using mils or both using MOAs, because otherwise you're talking to them in inches and they're talking to you in centimeters, okay? So that's the main thing. You and your spotter got to be talking the same thing. Let me back you guys up for a second here. But one of the things I want to say about working with MOA is that, like, usually on a mil scope you just got 1 through 10, right? So each full rotation looks like it's 20. All right, so it is a little harder to keep track. Make sure I'm in the scope. It is a little harder to keep track of your turn when you're working with MOA versus mils, because with mils it's just 1 through 10. You know, so that's the thing. You got to kind of use this. There's this line over here to kind of keep track of how high you are. Okay, so that's one of the problems I have found when working with MOA scopes. Okay, just a lot more numbers on the dial. Put you down for a second. Now, when we're talking about both mils and MOA, we're talking about an angular measurement. Okay, so we're talking about angle. So basically, it's the same as like degrees, mils, MOA accomplish the same thing. Okay, so 1 degree is about 18 mils. 1 degree is 60 MOA. Okay, so it's accomplishing the same thing. It's an angular measurement. The degree is like way too big. So basically, we'd be talking about like 0.001 degree, and it's just gets computing. That's why we use mils or MOA. You can use either one to range estimate. The difference is that if you're working with MOA, what you're doing is you're taking the inches, right, multiplying it by a conversion factor, right? So since this is MOA, we're using 95.5. If this was mils, we'd be using 27.77, okay? So that's the only difference as far as range estimating, which conversion number we're using. So here we're using 95.5, and then we're dividing it by whatever number of MOA, right, whatever measurement, whatever we're measuring in the scope, okay? So if we look in the scope, right, the average 6-foot man, right, at 100 yards is going to be 70 MOA. Okay, at 200 yards, they're going to be 35 MOA. At 300 yards, they're going to be 23 MOA. And all I did is I just plugged, you know, these numbers into this formula to get this number, right? So at 400 yards, they're going to be 17 MOA. At 500 yards, they're going to be 14 MOA. At 600 yards, they're going to be 11 MOA. At 700 yards, they're going to be 10 MOA, okay? So there's a lot of things out there that are very consistent, like most tractor trailers are 75 feet long, okay? So the same deal here. At 300 yards, your tractor trailer is going to be 290 MOA long. At 500 yards, they're going to be 170 MOA long, okay? And if we're looking at that, because this scope doesn't, I don't think it's got the ability to measure that much length, but we can do the height. So most tractor trailers are 13 feet tall, right? So at 300 yards, it's going to be 50 MOA tall, right? And at 500 yards, it's going to be 30 MOA tall, okay? So you use your MOA to range estimate, because then you know what to dial up on that turn, right? Because it's nice that it's got dials and stuff like that, but what do you do with those dials? You know, you gotta know the distance. You gotta be able to range estimate, so you know what to dial up. Hey everyone, I did find the throw lever. It's in this green envelope that says "Do not discard." Okay, so there it is. And use an Allen key to screw it in. So what you're going to do is you're going to use an Allen key to remove that plug that's in there, right? And then when that comes out, you're going to put this one in. Use some blue Loctite and an Allen key to put it in there. Now, one thing I'm going to say is for the $2,000+ that they charge, I do wish that they gave you more than one size, right? Because this is I think this is a little bit on the short side. I like them a little bit longer. So I would have liked one that was twice as long as this. So that's, so I don't think that's too much to ask for them to give you a short one and a longer one. Hey, a few things I want to show you before I get this on the rifle. Number one, this button here is your illumination. There's like 3 settings. You just keep clicking through it till you get the illumination that you want, if that's what you want. Okay. I mean, I'm probably just going to be working with the etched reticle. There is a diopter in the back because I removed the cap in the back, and yeah, it took a little bit of, I had to like apply a little force to get this thing to start turning so that I could focus the diopter to my eye. But at first I thought maybe this thing didn't have a diopter in the back and you just had to use the parallax to get a focus. But no, there's actually a diopter in the back. Okay, and you can see I've got the throw lever installed. But what I wanted to show you in this video is the how to set your turn. So on the and this is something you want to get very comfortable with before you go out and you zero this, because if you're not comfortable with this part here, you're gonna go get a zero and then you come here to like set the zero on your turrets, and you're gonna end up just having to re-zero the rifle. So you use this key that they give you here. That's actually pretty good. I like this key, this Y key. So on the windage, you just loosen them up a little bit. Yeah, it only has one Allen screw. You just loosen it up a little bit so that it won't click, because if you're clicking, it means you're changing a zero. So you move that to wherever you need to move it, right? And then you just tighten it back up. Okay. Okay. So now it'll actually click. Okay. So that's easy, right? That's just one Allen screw. I've done a lot of work with the primary arm scopes. I can tell you guys the Allen screws on this and the Allen key are way superior. There's one scope I've been working on, a 1:10 by 24, where like I got Allen screws that won't match up to Allen key, right, on primary arms. So yeah, this is like the first thing that stands out. I mean, they did a really good job with these Allen screws here. Like those are like high quality Allen screws. But anyway, the top turn, and this is where the instructions really don't give you a whole bunch of detail on this. So what you're gonna do is the same thing here. You're gonna loosen up the there's 2 Allen screws here. Again, I like these a lot better compared to primary arms. They're bigger and there's less of them. So once you do that, you just pull that off. Okay. So once you do that, now of course this is gonna be after you've zeroed this in. There's 4 screws on your top turn, okay? So after you get your zero, you're going to find the right Allen key that matches up to those 4 screws. You're going to loosen them up. You don't have to like completely get them out. You just got to loosen them up so that it will freely spin without clicking, right? Right now it's not clicking. And then what you do is once you do that, you're going to spin this around, and this is black on black, so it's going to be, so you're going to spin this around until you get to a locking mechanism. You go counterclockwise until you get to your locking mechanism right over here. What you say? So you see how it locks right there? Get in focus. So as soon as it gets to that locking mechanism, that's where that stops. Okay, and then what you're going to do is once you reach that spot, then you're gonna tighten these guys back up. Tighten you up. You don't have to go super tight. I mean, I think something like 4 inch-pounds or something. Just like really, really light. Especially if you're doing this for the first time, because you're probably going to need to change it more than once. And then once you do that, you're going to take this turn. You're going to match up the zero. You're going to line up the zero to the line over here, and you're going to push it down. Now, it does seem to like capture air in there. So see how it bounces up and down? That seems to be capturing air. So just get in there, hold it down. Yeah, see now it's bouncing less because I got most of the air out. So get in there, match it up. Yeah, it's not a spring, it's just air. Otherwise, it wouldn't stop bouncing. Like right now, it's like just bouncing very little. And hold it down. And then, again, you don't have to go crazy with these screws. Just a little bit of pressure, and See how it, yeah. See, now it stops right there. So now I can dial up and I can come back down, and I'll always come back to that 0. Okay, so that's an important feature because we're going to be doing a lot of dialing with the scope. So we want to come back to that 0 stop, to that stopping point. So now for the purpose of zeroing this scope, like getting a 0 on this, right? What I'm going to do is I'm going to give myself a lot more room, because what happens is from this point here, like what if I need to move down? Well, I'm stuck. I just hit my 0 stop. So I need to give myself a lot more room. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to loosen up the screws a little bit here. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn counterclockwise. There we go. To give myself room to work so I can get my 0. Right, and I'm going to just... Right. Yeah, this I do like this Y key. This Y key is really nice to work with. I can just flip this around until I get the... Okay, so that's good. Now I'm going to take the cap. What is that 0? See, that's the thing with the MOA. There's just like so many numbers going all the way around. So I mean, it is a lot easier to work with the mills. Okay, so let's flatten you out. Get the air out of there. Hold you down a little bit. All right. So now I'm ready to get you. Okay, very good. Okay, so yeah, so once you get, once you got your 0, and then you said, you're not going to want to move this. Well, actually, you'll be able to dial up, because then you always go back to that 0 stop. But right now, I'm able to go, go all the way down, and I can go outside and 0. So as far as mounting this, we're going to need a level. Let's get the Frankenstein mount out of there. Oh, I gotta have to cut this import. Okay, I'm not gonna go through the whole mounting process, but what you're gonna do is, before you do anything, you're gonna get the mount on the table. Now, I know on this table, I need to put like close these, almost, just close these all the way so I have a nice flat surface over here. Okay, make sure the bolts aren't hitting the table, right? Which they don't. If they are hitting the table, then you just gotta make sure you rotate them so that the flat side is facing down. Okay, so usually with this table here, I gotta put should do it right there, and then what I'll do is I'll take the bubble level, put the bubble level there. See, I gotta go a little bit more that way. So yeah, so like a lot of times I like, which way do I have to go? So what I'll do is I'll just tilt the bubble level to see which direction I'm gonna move into. So I gotta lift up on this side over here, take another page, see if that does it. And I'll even apply, with my finger back here, I'll apply some downward pressure on the so give one more page. So apply some pressure in the back. And that's good right there. That's where, now I'm going to undo these screws over here, okay, because I know this is now level, and what I'm going to do is, once I get this in there, right, once I remove the top ones, I'm then going to put the bubble level, because I know that this is sitting level now. I'm going to put the bubble level on here, right, and rotate this until my bubble level is level inside. That's where I'm going to tighten this down. Okay, so this type of a scope mount is a lot easier to work with. Hey everyone, for figuring out your eye relief, you're just gonna take a light like this, and I'm gonna shine it through the front. Okay, so when I shine it through the front, I'm gonna put my hand here, right, and I can see where that light comes into focus, right? So that's right about there, right? Right there, right there. So I'm going to mark that spot. I'll use that. And where's my tape measure? So that's about 3.5 inches of eye relief. So basically when I mount the scope, I want my eye to be about 3.5 inches back from here. So that should be, yeah, right about where the charging handle is. That's where we're gonna end up. Hey everyone, I wanted to get a weight measure before I mounted this thing. So the scope with the Nightforce mount. All right, we got 2 pounds. What is it? 2 pounds, 2.7 ounces. Okay, 2 pounds, 2.7 ounces. Quickly mount this on here. So this AR-47 rifle, loaded up with the scope and the mount, 9 pounds, 2.4 ounces. Okay, 9 pounds, 2.4 ounces. So as you can see, I moved the bubble level to the back over here because I had it up here and I really couldn't see around it. I wasn't clearing the scope. So I moved the bevel level back here, and then the flip-up sight fit nicely underneath here, the rear one, and the front one stayed up there. And then this way, when this scope does come off, I'll be able to put the next red dot on here that I'm testing, and I can just zero to these iron sights, and it'll make my job a lot easier. Right now, I'm gonna have to bore sight this because I was like up and down all over the place on these turns, so I have no idea where they're gonna end up. So I'm gonna do a bore sight. All right, guys, let me give you some initial impressions having zeroed in this scope on this Davidson Defense AR-47 and having shot about 40 rounds through it. First of all, it makes sense to have a $2,000 scope on a $500 AR, okay? Because right here, using just Red Army steel case ammo, okay, I shot 1.5 inches, and this, I mean, I pretty much do this every day, okay? So the thing that makes this happen, right, besides the fundamentals, is having a bubble level on the scope, because if your cant is slightly off, left or right, if you're off every time you take a shot, that'll move your shot 2 inches one way, 2 inches the other way, okay? So that makes a difference, having a bubble level back here. Now, I did initially have this bubble level up there, but I couldn't see it past the bell of the scope, so I moved it back here, which is the reason why the rear sight needs to be up there and the front sight can be there. Sometimes I'll actually move it back because I'll put a pistol light up in the front if I'm testing stuff out at night. But then this way, when this scope comes off, I just throw the next red dot on here, and I just co-witness it to those iron sights, and I'm good. Okay. Now, in this case, I had to bore sight it, and you know, it worked out pretty quick. So as far as shooting this, first of all, I'm going to say the parallax adjustment turned out a lot more pleasant than I expected, despite it not having any yardage numbers here. The dial is big enough that you can just grab this and it turns easy enough that you can very quickly get to your parallax, which you're going to interpret as a focus, right? So initially you're gonna focus to the reticle, right? You can do that indoors against like a white wall or something, right? Something that's featureless. You're gonna focus the reticle using the diopter, and then when you get, you know, when you go to shoot, it's really quick to use the parallax here to focus the scope at different distances. Now, every time you change your zoom, right? Because every time you change this, you have to change that, right? So even if you're shooting at the same distance, right? If I change the magnification, let's say I'm at 100 yards and I change magnification, I have to make a parallax adjustment, which is one of the reasons why on LPVOs I don't particularly love parallax adjustments, because LPVOs are meant to be really quick. So I want to be able to zoom, back and forth real quick on the different magnifications without having to go through the second step of using a parallax. But on this 2.5 to 20, it makes, because we're, it's not an LPVO. Now we're giving more emphasis to comfortable shooting at longer distances. We want to have that parallax, okay? So the parallax was working really great on here. It worked out a lot better than I thought it was going to, without any indications or any yardage indications. You just get on it and you quickly turn it and you'll get to what you feel, you'll get to what is in focus, and you'll be able to shoot. So that worked out really good. I was really happy with it. I have not done anything with the zero stop yet. It's starting to get dark. I left that for after dark. I'll take that indoors and I'll set the zero stop. As far as using the reticle, right, because that's the other thing here. So tomorrow I'm going to put a camera adapter on the back of this, and I'll take some more videos where you guys can see the reticle. Now the reticle is a cross, right? That's your main aiming point. When you're dialing up, you're using the cross. I prefer a chevron, right? With the cross, the type of bullseye that I needed to use was this 3-inch box here, because what happens is with the 3-inch box, I'm able to put my cross in here and center it on this 3-inch box, and that's how I get a good aiming point. Okay, so if you put just like a solid circle there, or a solid square, you may not be able to center it, and hold as well on it. If you put the 3-inch box, and it'll be different at different distances. This was at 100 yards. If you put the 3-inch box, it'll touch basically the edges of this box, and that's how you'll be able to get a good aiming point, and you'll be able to use cheap ass steel case ammo, okay, and get like 1.5-inch groups. And I've shot inch groups with this ammo and with this rifle many times. So this is a 1 MOA rifle with steel case ammunition, and that's just using a red dot and a magnifier too. I mean, now the red dot that I typically use is the ACSS style, which has the a chevron, so I have that fine aiming point. Now, as far as the zero that I took on this, it was a 50-yard zero, primarily because that's what I use on all of my ARs. So with the 50-yard zero, I'm basically from the center, I'm going to be about 2 to 3 inches high. So in this case, I'm about, about 2 inches high at 100 yards. At 200 yards, I would have my second zero. Now, I know my holding points at further distances. So, for example, from zero distance all the way to 250 yards, I'm just basically, point of aim, I just put my cross on the target, and I'll either be 3 inches high or 3 inches low, which is acceptable. At 300 yards, I normally use, on the mil scope, I use the 1 mil line. So here, I would be multiplying that by 3.4, right? So I'd be using 3.4, basically 3 MOA. So at 300 yards, with this scope, I'd be using 3 MOA, okay? At 400 yards, usually I use 2 mils. So here I'd be using like either 6 or 7 MOA, right? That's what I'd be dialing up over here, probably 6.5 MOA. Okay, at 500 yards, I usually take a 3 mil hold. So with this scope, I'd be dialing up 10 MOA. Okay, so that's just, you can convert back and forth on your holdovers or your dial-ups between mils and MOA by multiplying or dividing by 3.4, okay, or 3.5. That's also pretty close enough. Now, as far as should you get this in MOA or mils, I'm going to tell you guys that what you're going to do is you're going to get whatever the people around you are using. So if you're at a gun club, or if you're training with a bunch of guys and they're all using mils or they're all using MOA, that's what you want, right? You all want to be talking the same language. It's like saying, are you going to be talking in centimeters, or are you going to be talking in inches? Are you going to be talking in kilometers, or are you going to be talking in miles? So whatever the other people around you are using, that's what you're going to use, okay? Now, if your situation is such where, hey, you're not shooting with a bunch of guys, right, and you're saying, okay, what should I get given that I just shoot by myself? Get mills. The reason why you're going to get mills is because that's what the military guys use. And, you know, if you ever do take a class that's being run by military guys, they're going to be talking in mills. And even the competition shooters that were usually hardcore MOA are starting to shift over towards mills. Okay, so that's what I'm going to recommend there. So unless you're already in a club where everybody's using MOA, I would get this scope in mills. But it doesn't. I mean, you could do exactly the same things with a scope that's either in mills or MOA. It's just you just gotta know the conversions. If you're converting back and forth with other people, and you just gotta practice. You gotta learn to use the scope. And range time is more important than equipment. Okay, just getting out to the range. Which is why I'll tell people, listen, budget is fine, man. Get yourself a $500 AR-15. Get yourself a budget scope. Get yourself some. I'd rather you have 4,000 rounds of steel case ammo that can shoot 1.5 inches, like shooting here, or down to 1 inch sometimes, and have 4,000 rounds of that and go to the range regularly, rather than buy just whatever, let's say 200 rounds of match grade ammunition that now you only go to the range once or twice a year. Okay, so shooting more is going to make you a better shooter, not using more expensive equipment or more expensive ammunition or more expensive scopes. Okay, but this is I'm really liking the scope. It is a nice scope. I'm gonna be doing. I mean, it's my first day working with it. I gotta do some more work with it. I mean, 2.5 pounds. Pretty decent for a I think a 2.5 to 20 magnification. And one of the things I want to do is I'm going to basically be doing some CQB or CQB work where I'm in the 2.5 magnification and seeing how that works for me. What I don't like doing is adding red dots to scopes if I don't have to, right? So like on my 5 to 25 scope, yeah, I have to have a red dot because first of all, it helps me get on target faster at distances. But on this 2.5, if I can get away without putting piggybacking a red dot or offsetting, this one's really high. So if I was going to put a red dot on this, I would offset it like right here in this opening. Right now, as a right-handed shooter, I would probably go to this side here, because basically left eye sees through the pistol optic, right? And then because I could be in the scope. If I set this perfectly over here, I can have my left eye looking through the pistol red dot and my right eye looking through the scope, and just by winking back and forth, I can get really on target fast. But ideally, I want to avoid that, right? So what I hope I'm able to come back and tell you guys that, hey, this works great. Don't bother with putting a red dot on this. Just work with because this throw lever works pretty good. Sometimes they're very stiff, or sometimes maybe they're very loose. This one's pretty good, where I'm able to move back and forth pretty quickly. I would have preferred it a little bit longer, a little bit more leverage. But anyway, I'm going to be doing some more videos on this. And yeah, I mean, this scope is going to end up on a SCAR 17S shooting 308 ammunition. It makes sense to first mount it either on a 5.56 AR or in this case a 7.62 by 3.9 AR, and just get more shooting time, get more practice, and then unless you got stockpiles of 308. If you got stockpiles of 5.56 or stockpiles of 7.62 by 3.9, I would first load up the scope on one of those rifles, get really comfortable with it, get a lot of shooting under your belt, and then down the road load it up on a 308 gun. And ideally with this, you want to get out to with 308, I want to be shooting past 500 yards. I really don't want to waste 308 ammunition inside of 500 yards. With 308, I want to be shooting 500 to 1,000 yards. And I do go to I have a couple of videos posted where I'm shooting at 1,000 yards with different scopes. So anyway, drop some comments. Let me know what you guys think. Talk to y'all soon. Hey everyone, I wanted to give you guys a quick look at the reticle. So this is in 2.5 over here. Now I am looking through a camera adapter, so I'm not seeing as good as an image as you guys can see. And the sun is starting to go down a little bit. Okay, so that's 2.5 magnification back there. I actually put the same target back there at 100 yards. That's 100 yards. Now, looking through this, the first thing I'm going to say is I kind of wish that the bars, right, the leader lines are on the outside. I wish they were thicker, because that would really help a lot if you find yourself in an emergency situation and you gotta, do some CQB up close work. It would really help if you had some leader lines. Let's put on the illumination here, which is one of the things I'm having a little difficulty with the scope as far as getting it to do what I wanted to do with the illumination. There you go. So I've pressed it like a freaking dozen times here, trying to get this thing to light up. So there you go. All right. Now, when it blinks, it means that you've reached the max. So that's as bright as it will go. Okay, so again, that's a 2.5. I'm going to turn this illumination off. Okay, you're off. Okay, let's zoom up. So that's 2.5. Let's go up to 6. Okay, we're looking at 100 yards there. Okay, you can start seeing that box there I had earlier. Now, hold on. Let's adjust the parallax. Now, the thing is, I'm looking through a tinted lens. So, problem with me looking through a tinted lens, which is how this camera adapter works, is that I sometimes have some difficulty getting the focus right. All right, let's go up 6. Let's go to 12. Okay, so right there we are at 12 magnification. Let's see if I can get the parallax right. Yeah, looks like it's about right there. So again, the issues that I'm having with the parallax adjustment is mainly because, again, I'm looking through a tinted lens, but I think that parallax looks, so I think it looks right. Now, every time I change magnification, I gotta go back to the parallax adjustment. Let's go up to 20 magnification. Where are you? There's 20. Let's see if I can adjust the parallax a little bit. All right, I can see that the illumination is still on. Let me see if I can get this illumination off. Yeah. Get it off. Yeah, so that's the thing with this button design. There we go. I finally got it off. This button design is that you may have some difficulty getting this to do what you want it to do. So you see what I meant about earlier about how you use that box to center up your cross inside the box. Right, you can see the bullet holes. So that's at 100 yards, and you can see the bullet holes. Again, that's the target I shot earlier. So I really prefer chevron, where I just put the tip under under like a solid bullseye. I usually get really good accuracy. This does not have a grid underneath it for helping you self spot your impacts. So if you have, like, let's say a whole bunch of dots underneath it, what happens is if you see a splash on a particular dot, right, you would just transfer that to the target. So for example, if I'm shooting and I see that I got a splash at the 10 MOA line, well, then my next shot's going to be right there. Like, I'm not even going to bother with the dial. I'm just going to move 10 MOA onto the target and just take my shots. So that's fine if it's directly underneath it, right? So like I said, from here, if I see a splash at 10 MOA, I go there, right? But what if it's like out here somewhere? Shit, how am I supposed to, so that's where it's really useful to have some holding points underneath it. So that's the disadvantage of this reticle design. Now, I'm sure that they offer other options as far as reticles. I don't know for sure, but I didn't order this one. But yeah, I would have preferred to have a Christmas tree pattern underneath it. Let me zoom back a little bit. Let's go to 10. At 10, we'll probably get a little bit more light in there. Okay, let me do a parallax adjustment. Yeah, it looks like it's about right there. Yeah, that's good. Right to 4. So for this distance at 100 yards with this light level that we have right now, let's see if I'm at 12, I can do a good parallax adjustment. So that's a good place to be right now. For this light level that I have now with the sun going down, I would want to be at 12 magnification, and I can kind of put that X. I can barely see the X now because of the first focal plane. It's kind of shrunk down. I have to kind of use the outer lines to kind of center it. See if I can go up a little bit more. Start at 16. Yeah, 16 is working good. Let's see if I do a parallax adjustment. Yeah, go right there. So we'll do more of this tomorrow when we got a little bit more light. Sun's starting to go down now. Right now we're back to 2.5. Let's see what the parallax looks like here. It's kind of hard to tell through the camera where I gotta parallax this. Yeah, if those if those leader lines out at the edges were a little bit thicker, it would really help. Because once you zoom in, they kind of disappear out of your field of view. So there's no reason why those outer lines can't be really thick, so it can help you get on target faster, in an up close type of situation. Hey everyone, I just finished resetting the turrets here. So as you can see, this one over here is on the windage is set to 0, and also on my elevation it's set to 0, and it also has a stop, so I can go as far as I want, and I'll be able to come back to 0. Now, as far as setting this, okay, this was like a breeze, man. I mean, I've been working with the primary arm scopes, and this is just so much easier to work with. Mostly having to do with these Allen screws. Okay, the Allen screws that primary arms uses are shit. I mean, these are high quality Allen screws. So I don't know where these guys get these Allen screws, if they make them, if they buy them, but primary arms needs to get some good Allen screws, man, because these are I am the most jealous here because this isn't my scope. So the ability to set the turns here, and the 0 stop with these Allen screws and this Allen key here, I mean, that is really nice. Although, in order to set the elevation, I did need to get a standard Allen key because it was just sitting at an angle that I couldn't get this big triangle one to work in. So I needed to get just the standard Allen key in order to have the to be able to get into the angle. Like up here, I can easily access it like this. But if it's sitting to the side over here like this, you're not going to be able to spin it because you're going to be hitting on the bell over there. Okay? But yeah, these Allen screws are really nice. I know it sounds weird that I'm going on about Allen screws, but I've done a number of videos on how pissed off I've been at the primary arms Allen screws and setting the turrets on that.